Mr. Chairman, this is an important panel, and let me begin by saying I don't believe we got in this predicament by osmosis. The fact is the Republicans have been doing favors for their big oil buddies at the consumer's expense, and that is why, a major reason why, energy bills are going through the roof. And I'm just going to take a minute to look backward and then talk about where we ought to be going. We had 50 years worth of gridlock on climate. No pricing, no regulatory reform, no nothing. In the Senate Finance Committee, we put together an alternative, and it was based on markets. It was based on technology neutrality. Underline those words, technology neutrality. Everybody's part of the market. You get choices. And the more you reduce carbon, the bigger your tax savings. And in a couple of years, we got hundreds of billions of dollars committed to making sure that we had those renewable choices. Now, along come the Senate Republicans, particularly in the last couple of weeks. And when the natural gas folks, these are not the environmentalists, these are the natural gas folks, basically said, we'll take electrons if they're from Mars. We got to have electrons. We'll take them from anywhere, not just because of AI, but because of growth, because of innovation. And regrettably, the Senate Republicans said, we're not for choices. We're not for options. We're not for alternatives. And of course, that doesn't let us meet the challenge of demand. So my view is, and what I'm going to keep pushing for as a senior Democrat in the Finance Committee, is working with anybody across the political spectrum to get us more choices. And particularly, as my colleague from New Mexico said, the gas industry, not the League of Conservation Voters or the Sierra Club, will tell you that the cheapest alternatives now are solar and wind, and they need them today, not tomorrow. They need them today in order to drive markets. So apropos of your good work, Mr. Gramlich, I'd be interested in what your ideas are to kind of resurrect a choice-based system rather than one that just hands out the goodies to the big oil companies. And by the way, people tell me, you all are welcome to add this, fossil fuels cannot meet our demand today. If we're going to meet demand, we need solar and wind. We need these alternatives. And after 50 years of gridlock on this issue, we broke up the inertia, we broke up the lack of progress, and we were making a lot of progress. And I want to see us get back to something that has as many of those choices, the technological neutrality principles that we wrote in the Finance Committee, because I think that is America's energy future. By the way, nobody knows what the big alternatives are going to be 30 years from now. We need a science-driven kind of approach. And when we talked to Joe Manchin about putting this together, which he backed, he said, we need more science. And we'll get that with the technology-driven kind of system. So tell us about what you'd be working on in terms of more choices for the days ahead.
Well, Senator Wyden, thank you for your leadership on the technology-neutral tax credit. I think that's a perfect example of something that provides the support to any and all technologies that meet the performance standards that Congress can set out. And so I thought that was a great idea. Glad to see it enacted. Sad to see the early phase out. I think at this point it's important for Treasury to implement at least what Congress passed recently.
So you want to make sure that there's no more stalling around, because as you know, we got a modest bit of the current system into the final bill, and now it looks like a bunch of people in the House are trying to roll that back. You tell the administration, suck it up here and stand in there for choices and alternatives. Is that one of your messages?
Certainty is critical for investment, and uncertain IRS regulations kill certainty. You can't invest if you don't know what the rules are.
What else would you do? More choices?
Well, Well, I think, generally, as I was saying before, the transmission grid really is in the purview of this committee and Congress and FERC, and that is the great integrator of all resources that enables choice of whatever a state may choose, and
Good.
generation is largely.
My time is up. That was the one thing that we weren't able to get in the 2022 election. And had we been able to negotiate a compromise with more choices, I would have put transmission number one as our challenge for the future. And we're going to try to get those choices back, and we're interested in working with you on transmission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.